The age-old showdown between dirty bulking and clean bulking continues each time the weather cools down and dudes get more romantic about their pump covers. But every year I hear dudes arguing which strategy is better. On one side, you have dirty bulking with trying to put on as much weight as possible to maximize muscle gains, enjoying all the foods that you want, and not giving any fricks about the consequences. Or in the other corner, you have clean bulking, with trying to minimize those fat gains at maybe a slightly lower muscle gain, but a lot more discipline with controlling your food choices and amounts. So which one of these strategies is goated? Let's first dive into what we know about bulking. The most important aspect of bulking or gaining muscle is some kind of energy surplus. For most people, this is going to be achieved by eating more calories than you use over an extended period of time. This will allow our body to not only have enough energy for sustaining our current functions, but also having enough energy to go through the actual process that is muscle building. Second, we need enough protein. Protein, or the amino acids that we get from high protein foods, are the actual building blocks of the functional tissue that we put on, which is called a sarcomere. In order to put together more sarcomeres to build appreciable muscle, we need to take in enough protein that not only covers our day-to-day functions, but also an additional amount to account for how much we need to put on that additional muscle. And third, we need a strong stimulus, aka a reason for our body to actually want to put on more muscle. And looking swole on the beach for babes is not enough of a reason. Sorry, Chad. But instead, we gotta lift some goddamn heavy weights. Lifting enough to stimulate them to grow, but not annihilating them to the point where they can't recover enough to grow is a very careful line you need to walk. There are other things that can help contribute to building more muscle, but these are the main things that are gonna move the needle. So let's first dive into dirty bulking. Dirty bulking is where we just say screw it and eat whatever we want. Pizza, burgers, chips, or whatever tickles your fancy, with the only goal being a massive calorie surplus. Typically, people going through a dirty bulk are accepting the fact that they're going to be in a massive calorie surplus with the intention of maximizing or near maximizing muscle gain, with the side effect of somewhere between an appreciable and an astronomical amount of fat gain. Dirty bulks may sound fun and may actually be a lot more fun with a lot less restriction around the food choices and amounts that you choose, and may allow for a little mental break after a dieting phase that consisted of calculated restriction and lots of discipline. The downside of the dirty bulk is the other side though. When you start cutting after a dirty bulk, you have a lot more fat to lose, which is both going to take a lot more time and a lot more extreme of a cut. Not to mention, you will lose a lot more muscle in your cut than you would have if you had done a clean bulk. As for a clean bulk, you have to be a lot more disciplined. You will still be able to fit in your favorite foods, but it'll be more in moderation and with more reasonable amounts. The goal here is to aim for a calorie surplus that will drive muscle growth, but will minimize the fat gains that come with it. This process is definitely the delayed gratification version of the two. It will feel like the gains are coming really slow, but you will be able to appreciate the gains that you have made because of the lower body fat percentage that you'll be at each stage. The biggest plus here is the end result. At the end of a well-executed clean bulk, you will have to cut for less time and a less extreme cut in order to get shredded and reap the rewards that you sowed. Plus, because your cut can be shorter and less intense, you'll retain more of that hard-earned muscle that you grew during your bulk. Look, at the end of the day, the decision is yours to make, but I have to advocate for a clean bulk. Gaining excess body fat not only makes the shredding part of a dirty bulk much harder, but the dirty bulk itself also puts you at risk for things like insulin resistance, possibly leading to pre-diabetes or high blood pressure from the uncontrolled amount of sodium that you're intaking. During a dirty bulk, you may also just generally feel bad, fatigued, or you may get poor sleep because of the foods you're consuming, and all of these things may lead to worse workouts or just worse outcomes in general. Not to mention, if you gain so much fat that you experience hyperplasia of your fat cells, meaning you literally gain more fat cells, then your cut may be a lot more harder to stay disciplined because of the changes in your hormones that result from this process. In order to clean bulk properly, start by calculating your calorie surplus. If you've tracked your calories before and you know what your maintenance is, you can skip step 1 and head straight to step 2. Step 1 is to calculate maintenance. You can start by using an online calculator like this one. It's not a perfect system, but it's pretty solid in estimating, and then you can make adjustments later down the road. So enter your current stats into this, and when you get your maintenance amount of calories, add 15% to put you into a calorie surplus. Step 2, calculate your protein needs. To make this easy, I would just start with 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Protein needs are actually a range, but I think that this is a great number to start with, and it'll make sure that you're getting in enough protein. Step 3, calculate your fat needs. We calculate fat by allocating 20 to 35% of our total daily calories to fat. I usually start at 25% and then adjust from there based on people's preferences and what they can stay consistent with. Once you multiply your number of calories by the chosen amount of fat, divide it by 9 and you'll get the amount of grams of fat that you'll consume each day. Step 4, allocate the remaining calories to carbohydrates. Add up how many calories you're consuming from protein and fat. Start by multiplying the amount of grams of protein by 4 and then add it to the amount of calories that you got from fat in the last step. Then subtract the total number you get from your total daily calorie intake, and that'll give you the amount of calories of carbohydrates you need to consume. Divide that number by 4, and that'll give you the grams of carbohydrates that you need. Once you have all your numbers dialed in, make sure you have a strong plan to achieve your bulk. The most successful bulks always come from having a really well-structured workout program and a plan to consistently get in your calories and macros each day, including on the weekends. And if you want to make even more gains, check out the Build Muscle playlist on my YouTube channel in order to maximize your gains. Subscribe so that you can gain more knowledge in order to grow more muscle, and smash that like button for bigger biceps. Thanks for watching. See you soon.